my name is David Penner, and this is my ePortfolio highlight video, in which I'll cover some of the artifacts that I did for each level, elementary, secondary, and district levels. So to start, let's look at the elementary level. One of the standards that I covered was 4.3C. The school leader will interpret data from formative and summative assessments for planning purposes. In order to do this, I looked at our 5th grade state assessment results in order to see where we matched up with the rest of the state in both our science, math, and ELA areas, content areas. And what I found when looking at this data was that our building actually had higher number of students that classified as the level 2 and level 3 or basic and effective levels. Those areas were higher in our student percentages, while our level 1 and level 4 were showing limited knowledge and excellent knowledge or excellent ability would be a little bit lower than the state averages. So what this shows is that the majority of our students tested within that level 2 and level 3 range. Next standard was 7.2C. The school leader will provide or develop a plan for providing a healthy, positive school environment. With this, I went ahead and made a COVID-19 poster of our plan to stop the spread, covering some basic steps in which we'll have to address when we have students coming back into our schools. One of those would be washing our hands frequently. I said that it would be important for our school to show that we have hand sanitizer available in each classroom. We have to have a plan for maintaining social distancing practices, avoiding touching the face for students. That'd be a concern, and then also passing that off to other students as well. And then addressing students that are sick or feeling sick, that they should stay home, and if they're running a fever, they should seek medical care. For my secondary artifacts, 1.1B was one of the biggest standards that I addressed. This would be the school leader will work with others in order to design a school mission or vision that addresses areas needing improvement. One of the areas that we, as a secondary school, sought to improve was our relationships with our students. What we found was that a lot of our students seem to have a lot of trauma in their life, and so our counselors actually started a trauma-informed research team, and I was a part of that research team. My primary role on that was to look at the data that we collected from the Kansas Communities That Care survey that we sent out to our students and see how they once again stack up with the rest of the state and what areas of trauma were the biggest within our student population. We spent a lot of time doing in-services, presenting material to the rest of our staff, meeting as a research team, and discussing different strategies and techniques that we're going to look into as we continue on in this journey. It's been 2 or 3 years now that we've continued this, and so I'm looking forward to continuing to learn in this area and continuing to improve our relationships with our students. The next standard is 3.1C. The school leader will develop a plan for improving school culture. This came down to our KISA goals. One of our goals for KISA was to improve our student environment engagement levels. So part of our Rose Hill High School action plan was to address the current engagement levels of our students, see what groups of students were getting involved, what students were not getting involved, and the reasons for both. This was part of, we created a student or school involvement survey that we sent out to our students. I put the link down below. And then this was also part of our action plan. And we spent several days working on developing the action plan, creating the survey, sending that survey out to the students, and then collecting that data and looking into the data itself. And that's currently where we're at with this action plan. For 5.1C, school leader will foster or engage in two-way communication with families. My piece of artifact for this came from after our spring break when we were no longer going allowed back into the schools. In order to address or relay information um, to our students, we had to conduct Zoom meetings with our teen time students and their parents in order to inform them on what school would look like for the rest of the year. I made a sign up sheet and were able to get my 13 students to sign up. Was able to Zoom meet with the parents, the student, and then address any concerns or questions they had about what school would look like. And then we've continued to do this each week as we met with our students in order to help them with maybe questions they have concerning our online classroom, and then also how grades will look and what attendance looks like as well. Next was 6.2a. The school leader will evaluate resource needs. Uh, for this, I had the opportunity to look into our school district is actually thinking about switching over from our MacBook Airs to iPads for the students, and so our technology director was able to contact me, get me an iPad, and then he wanted to make sure that everything I did in my classroom was able to be done on the iPad. So I spent some time doing that myself, but then also uh, I was able to meet with my science department and ask them what technology or what equipment they would need in order to run the labs that they do within their classroom. And then I spent some time researching what equipment would actually be compatible with the iPads. And once I compiled a list of both, I went into chemistry, biology, and physical science, those classrooms, and was able to talk with those teachers. I compiled the list and then I presented that to our technology director that gave the prices of the pieces of equipment and the number of each equipment that we would need. For component 7.4a, the school leader will observe teachers in their classrooms. I actually had a chance in the fall of 2018 to go and observe two other teachers within my school. One was Mr. Shirley. He's the one of our social studies teachers. He was had prepared a lesson for the students. They had a QR code set up around the room where they would scan the code, read a little bit of information about that historical event, and then answer questions on their history scavenger hunt. I also got to observe Mr. Hill's architectural drafting class, where his students were able to use their technology in order to create 3D printing plans for their projects. This was a great opportunity to look at project-based learning. Students were putting techniques into practice that they had learned earlier in the year in order to create their 3D models, and then they were going to print those 3D models at the end of the year. For my district artifacts, one of the components that I met was 1.2b. The school teacher will use research and data to develop an improvement process. Uh, Along with being part of the high school trauma-informed research team, I was also part of the district trauma-informed research team. In this team, we were able to look into the techniques of being a trauma-informed school. We were able to meet with our district social workers to address why we're implementing this this process. We conducted a book study where they gave us a book. We were able to read through the book and then meet as teachers. We did that for 5 weeks, 1 hour a week. Meet, discuss the chapter that we read, and then go about discussing how that would work within our classrooms or our grade levels. We also had the author of Paper Tigers come in. That's Jim Sporletter. He not only talked to us as a district teachers, but also he was able to meet with our district parents later on that night as well. Later on in the year, we were able to then go observe Coffeyville in their schools, which are part of the trauma-informed process as well. And then we were able to meet together to dissect all the stuff that we've gathered as a research team, and then present that information to our parents as where we're at in the process and what that currently looks like. One of the things that we did for this was we created a book study Google Drive from our And this one was just for the high school coaches, or sorry, the district coaches that couldn't make the after school book study. We put together a lot of useful information, took notes, and then also looked into some of the data that shows what trauma actually does to a student. The next component was 4.2a. The school leader will evaluate the school's digital literacy support of academic and non-academic systems. One of the biggest goals of our district is to improve our students' digital citizenship. This is one of our KISA goals, or part of our KISA goals, and so we want to improve this at all levels. We were able to once again put together a step-by-step action plan. I was able to present one of my picto charts that I created within the Fort Hays program, and show them the different levels of digital citizenship, different areas that we can actually talk to our students about and discuss with them. And then we were able to meet with Deanne Hershey, who is helping us with this KISA process, and revise our steps from there and our implementation processes. Finally, for 7.3c, the school leader will plan and develop professional development opportunities for staff members to address cultural responsiveness, digital literacy, school improvement, and student success. In my time here at Rose Hill, I've been a part of the district professional development committee. Within this committee, we meet once a year at the end of the year to discuss what our professional development process looks like for the next year and the opportunities that we'll have. We go over topics, speakers, events. We've covered everything from our trauma-informed process. We've also covered cultural responsiveness, different areas of school improvement as well. And we also meet together to evaluate professional development points that teachers are trying to submit for relicensure. We also discuss salary points and movement for teachers that qualify, and see if they actually have met those qualifications. And then we plan once again for the upcoming year and the development, professional development opportunities that our district is going to provide for our teachers. Okay, that's my highlight video. Thank you for watching.